And can you tell us more about three, is it 31 Atlas?
No, it's 3I. In other words, it's the
3I Atlas.
third interstellar object. 3I. The first one was called Oumuamua by you. That would be 1I, Oumuamua. The second was called Borisov. That would be 2I, Borisov. This is the third interstellar object to come into your solar system that you have recognized. So it is 3I, and you have named it Atlas. It is a comet, a very unusual comet. It does have extraterrestrial technology attached to it for observational and recording purposes and investigation and scientific recording purposes, but it is, in a sense, an unusual natural comet. But the purpose of these ideas, of the observation of these interstellar objects coming into your system, is practice to pay attention to the idea that there will be more interstellar objects, actual extraterrestrial interstellar objects coming into your solar system in the near future that are now in your solar system, have been coming into your solar system. So it's an opportunity to practice recognizing that interstellar objects from other star systems are entering your system, coming closer and closer and closer. So these natural objects are giving you some practice in getting used to the idea of accepting that objects from other star systems are coming into your star system as well. And this is another way of preparing for open contact, even though these objects themselves are not extraterrestrials per se.
And will first contact bring peace to the Middle East?
Not immediately, no. It will not necessarily immediately bring priest to the idea of any place that is now focused on the idea of negativity or war or struggle or strife, but it will be an option. The idea, therefore, is that many people may react with fear. Those that wish to maintain control over their populations may actually tighten their grip to some degree out of fear. But in a sense, the dam will have broken. The knowledge of extraterrestrial existence and what it is that's being offered to humanity will be undeniable. And over time, those negative entities will start to relax their grip, realizing that if they don't do that and join the rest of humanity, in a sense, they will be left in the Stone Age as they watch from the sidelines while the rest of humanity evolves.
In the movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, we were provided with an example of ETs showing up on Earth and everything. Was that like designed to prepare us for what's coming? And will it be anything similar to that?
It won't be quite as similar to that idea. It will be a little bit different, but those kinds of things are also some of the evidence of extraterrestrial preparation behind the scenes. Some of the things that are going on in your movies, in your television shows, have been suggested by those who are working among you to get you ready and prepare you for the idea of extraterrestrial contact and open you up to how beneficial that can be for your society. So it doesn't mean that human imagination is not involved. It simply means that there are souls that have decided to have physical incarnations who are open to receiving this information from higher frequencies and putting it into their creative endeavors, like movies and TVs on your planet and books. But also, there is some participation on the part of extraterrestrials sending this kind of information and seeing who is willing to pick up on it and incorporate these ideas into your creative works, as well as actual extraterrestrials behind the scenes making suggestions for these kinds of stories. So again, it's kind of a collaboration.
And when open contact occurs, will those of us who are already more vibrationally compatible be able to move onto some craft to live in?
Not necessarily to live in, but there will be some opportunities for some individuals to experience entering crafts and traveling a bit, but it's not going to necessarily be common at first. It will eventually become more common over time, but there are reasons why it will not be common at first. But there will be some opportunities for that, but do not be impatient for that. It's more important that you focus on what needs to be done in service to humanity first.
And will some people have contact even sooner than 2027? And if so, what would be the purpose of that?
Again, in preparation, many people have already had contact. It is to some degree, again, behind the scenes and few and far between, but contact has been going on for a long, long time. And I remind you, when we talk about the idea of open contact, we're talking about what you typically refer to as Western civilization, because there are many indigenous cultures that have had contact with extraterrestrials for thousands of years, such as your indigenous Native Americans, as you call them. They have known for thousands of years that they are connected to what they call the star people, and they are connected genetically, and that the star people are their ancestors. So the idea is that for the most part, the Western civilization is the last culture on Earth to understand that this is going on, and open contact is referred to as open contact because once it's exposed to the idea of your Western civilizations, then finally your entire planet and all the cultures on it will finally all know that extraterrestrials exist. Whereas up to this point, only some of them have known that we exist.
And this person is asking, I was wondering how we can contribute to open contact when it happens. For example, one of my passions is to study Earth's true history, which you said we will get in detail after open contact. I'd like to help others integrate that knowledge as some sort of teacher, or as I would call it, a galactic historian. Is that something that would be useful for others, and should I pursue it? I know that not all of us will be enthusiastic about meeting our galactic cousins and shattering old patterns, but I'd like to help facilitate it.
Yes, as I said, your history will be provided and also the opportunity to learn many things and to help disseminate information that you feel will be valuable for the evolution of humanity. So many humans will be given the opportunity to learn certain things and how to proceed in sharing that information with others as well, if you are passionate about being involved. So yes, those opportunities will exist.
Will different governments respond differently? I guess I would assume that.
Yes, you can assume that.
Will some have a negative reaction to the contact and some have, because of religious beliefs or, things like that, if it's a s
Yes. Yes, the simple answer is yes. There will be all sorts, a whole range, a whole spectrum of emotional reactions, fear-based reactions, positive reactions, everything in between. It will only settle after a couple of decades by your
Wow.
year of 2050. So the idea is that at first, everyone will be given an opportunity to react however they want. We're not going to force anybody to change. We're simply presenting you with the option and the opportunity because it's time to do so for a variety of reasons that we will not deeply go into at this time. But it is in the best interest of humanity to be exposed to the existence of others beyond your planet at this time. But what you choose to make of it is up to you. We're not going to force you to react or respond in any particular way. Those who are ready will respond positively. Those who are not may respond negatively, but that's okay. We're not going to force you to experience anything. It's up to you to determine the pacing and the timing in taking your time to understand how to integrate our presence into your lives, if at all. But that's up to you.
And so we can expect things like some news stations will carry it as a negative thing and others will say it's a positive thing.
Yes,
Well, that'll be interesting. Um,
yes.
Actually, it'll probably be one of the most exciting things that have happened in a long, long time, you know?
One way or another, although there are many exciting things happening on your planet every single day.
That's true. Um, can you explain whether precursors are born on the planet or not?
No, preparers can be born on your planet who are aware, awake. Sometimes you call them earth angels who are very aware of their mission. They're advanced souls who know exactly what they're doing and will help humanity and help individuals here and there, where and when they're needed. Precursors for open contact are not born on your planet. They walk among you to determine vibrationally how, when, why you might be ready for open contact. They are not born on your planet.
Is there any way to kind of tell if somebody is a precursor?
Sometimes you will pick up on what you call a vibe, and you may know that you're looking at someone who's an extraterrestrial. But Until such time as open contact occurs, those beings will probably dissuade you from thinking about it or noticing them too deeply. So you might suddenly change your mind about what you're seeing or sort of go a little bit foggy about it. But you may initially pick up on the fact that what you're sensing doesn't come from your world. So again, that's part of the reading and the observations that the precursors are taking to say, all right, this many more people, this higher percentage of people even recognize that something was different about me. And they will report this back to the collective extraterrestrial groups, and they will understand that you are more ready for open contact by the amount of recognition you have of their vibrational frequency. But for now, until open contact is official, they will usually make you forget or turn your consciousness away from observing them or recognizing them further until such time as it is appropriate to do so.
And is there anything you can tell us about what they're actually doing? Like,
I
how do
just
they
told you what they're doing. They're taking observational readings of your readiness for open contact.
so are they're interacting with people, so are they specifically doing it in some way that
No, no,
would
no, 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 no. They are literally just walking among you, taking energetic readings.
oh,
They're very rarely interacting with any of you. They are simply picking up on the vibrational readiness of whether or not you actually pick up on their vibration. They're like living sensors. That's all that they're doing. They're
I
not
see,
interacting with any of you in that sense directly.
I see. And, why do so many hybrids appear to have Caucasian features?
They don't. There are many different variations of hybrids, but the idea sometimes of certain hybrids in certain cultures will take on more of the representation of those cultures, obviously, to fit in, to blend in. But there are hybrids in every single culture on your planet.
And, is there any information you can share about the Bugosphere with us?
It is an extraterrestrial object given to you to study, again, to prepare you for the understanding of extraterrestrial technology that you will be working with after open contact. So it's a little bit of a here's a gift that you can tinker with to start understanding how to relate to the idea of more advanced technology.
And can you said that orbs can be many different things. Do Essassani ships have sometimes look like orbs?
Yes, depending on whether or not we're transitioning from one dimension to another or not necessarily coming fully into your reality, we may still appear as an energy orb unless we fully materialize and crystallize into your physical reality.
And this person is saying they've read accounts of people describing being on UFO craft for extended periods, sometimes up to a week, without feeling hungry, tired, or needing to use the bathroom. How is the ship able to sustain them in this state?
Like many people who have near death experiences, when they're operating in that kind of vibrational realm, which can be similar to the way many extraterrestrials and extraterrestrial crafts operate in another dimension, time is not the same as it is for you. So, what may feel like a week actually isn't necessarily a week for you. Just like people, when they go into spirit and have near death experiences, say, and they go through maybe a partial life review, say, well, it felt like I went through all sorts of, like I was there for a month, but then I came back and I realized it had only been maybe 5 minutes. So it's that kind of differentiation when craft take people into alternate realities where time and space are not featured the same, not experienced the same, that you can feel like you're there for a week, but you're not actually there for a week in your understanding of time.
And can you tell us a little more about the meaning of Daryl's hand position when he's channeling?
The idea is to help balance out the electromagnetic field of his body to make it easier for him to connect to us. And at the same time, the actual mudra form acts like a lens in front of the chakra of intention to guide the electromagnetic energy of our frequency outward like a lens, like a laser beam, to those who are receiving our communication.
Are more individual contacts happening because we're being prepared? Can you elaborate on that anymore?
No.
Okay. Why did the Sasani UFO that got hit by the Hellfire missile look like a balloon?
First of all, no one said that that was one of our vessels. That's an assumption on that person's part. that was not one of our vessels. And the idea is that it looked like it looked simply because of the nature of the camera that was photographing it and picking up more on its infrared energy signature and its field rather than the actual shape of the craft.
And some people say they've connected with you on a spiritual level. And other than with Darryl, do you also experience this connection?
Very often, yes. Remember that when people decide to have personal one-on-one experiences with us in communication, such as what you call private sessions, very often there will be a communication and a connection beforehand in non-physical reality to set it up.
Yes, I think sometimes people say they've seen things like license plates that say Ely on it, or things that would be unusual that reference your civilization happening before they have a private session with you.
Yes, that can be and often is an indication of contact with us on a higher plane before it actually manifests in physical reality as a one-on-one private session. There
And
will
do the
always be connection and contact first, as above, so below.
and do the Essassani have marriage? And what is your relationship with your significant other like?
We do not have the ceremony or ritual that you would call marriage. Again, we do not impose any kind of societal structure on the relationships we attract into our lives, except that we allow the relationship to be what it is as a reflection of what we need to know. And we reflect back to the others what they need to know synchronistically. And we allow the relationship to show us what it is and how long it needs to last in the form in which it comes. We do not impose any assumptions upon what that relationship needs to be and do not have any particular societal or ceremonial structures to those relationships. We, in a sense, consider the entire civilization and all the population to be married, if you want to use that term, to each other. So the idea is that everyone is one family. All the children are the children of all the adults. All the adults are, in a sense, the parents of all the children, because again, remember, we're telepathically bonded. And therefore, we always know where our children are. We always know where each other is when we need to. So, in that sense, we don't need any particular kind of relationship structure. We are all in the relationships synchronistically we need to be in for as long as they need to last and in the form in which they need to come. We simply know that that's the way that it serves us best, and that's the way we operate through pure synchronism.
And how is a child created on your planet?
At this time, we are beyond the idea of physical procreation, although that used to happen similarly to the way that you birth children in the past. But now it is simply up to individuals to overlap their energy fields, and in the overlap of those energy bubbles is the creation of a new body that a soul takes on as a child for its existence, manifesting and appearing in our reality, you would say, as if by magic in the overlap of those two energy bubbles.
How did you know that being a first contact specialist was your highest excitement? Were there other significant possibilities you explored? And this is a great question. Do you get paid for it?
No, we do not have money on our planet because there is no need for it. We have unlimited energy and unlimited resources. Everyone has what they need. You do not need an artificial medium of exchange on our planet to get what you need, because everyone is being of service. Therefore, in a sense, everyone is doing their quote unquote job in helping everyone by being in the perfect place at the perfect time to give everyone what they need and receive exactly what they need in a perfect, flawless, immediate, synchronistic exchange of all things necessary on our planet. The idea, again, is not that mysterious. How do you know what you're excited about? How do you know what you're attracted to? You just know, you feel it, you see it, you get excited about it, you become passionate about it. So I am passionate and always have been about being a first contact specialist ever since I knew there was such a thing as being a first contact specialist, and that there were other civilizations I could interact with that I could learn from. And therefore, my father teaching me how to go through that methodology became one of my passions. I've also said that I am passionate about being a sculptor, an artist in that sense, and working with different kinds of nanotechnological materials to create different sculptures that can interact with people in certain ways to reveal to them what it is they wish to get out of the reflections of interacting with my artwork as a sculptor. There are other things I'm passionate about too, and I will go into many of those at another time.
But when you incarnated, that was already a given, wasn't it? That you would be
Well,
a first
yes,
contact
it would
person.
be my life path. But again, in the physical experience, I simply found that I would be attracted to that sort of thing as a reflection of what my soul chose for my life path. It doesn't discount that I don't discover it as a passion when I'm physical. But yes, of course, it was laid out on the life path.
So how does a 3-year-old on a Sasani experience reality? Like, how is it for them at that
Well,
age?
again, at 3 years of age, they are allowed to go wherever they wish to go. They are much more mature than your own children at that age. And again, remember being telepathically connected to the rest of the beings on the planet, they will receive the guidance and the direction that they need as they wander around looking at the things that are representative of the challenges they posed on their life path and their passions that lead them to those challenges. So they are free to move about much more freely than a child of that age on your planet because they are taken care of.
Does your society practice religion?
No, we know our relationship to all that is, spiritually speaking, because we understand the nature of spirit and that is our natural state. We do not need an intermediary sociological structure to represent the idea of our spiritual connection as reflections of source. So it's simply ingrained within us that we know this and have a direct relation in our experience with source. We don't need an intermediary form of religion to express it.
And you've mentioned Anima is a social engineer, is that correct?
Yes, a social engineer in the idea of planetary management, but specifically with the idea of the beings that participate in the idea of planetary management. In other words, guidance for the beings themselves that handle planetary management. That's why she's referred to as a social engineer, helping people understand how to manage an entire planet, guiding the people themselves and suggesting different techniques and approaches and things like that, but helping with the people themselves whose job it will be to manage the planet.
And did she also incarnate into a family where that was um, part of their focus?
Yes, she has a family history of doing that, although again, there are other members of her family that don't participate in that particular function, of course.
And what does the environment, nature, and biodiversity on your planet look like? Which region of Earth is most similar to your planet?
Though temperate regions, we don't have extreme seasons like you do. Most of our planet is relatively temperate because we don't have the same axis tilt on our planet that you do. Therefore, you would look to the tropics or the temperate zones and things like that that would be more similar to the idea of the flora and fauna on our world.
Okay, now this question is about dreams. And is this person is asking if they are living a life every time they dream.
Well, you're very busy when you dream. You're either traveling astrally, or taking classes, you're learning things, you're communicating with other beings, you're looking at your life path and making slight adjustments about how maybe you approach things, so on and so forth. So you're very active when your body is asleep, and the dream may be a memory, as best as your mind can make sense out of symbolically, to the activities that you've been doing when you're out of body as a spirit, astrally speaking. So yes, you're very busy when you're sleeping. It's not that you're having another life per se, but you have a life as a spirit and you are living that life as the spirit that you are, as the soul that you are. But this is part of your soul life too. Physical reality is part of your soul life. So you're just doing the other part of your soul life when you're non-physical, when your body is asleep. You're continuing your life path, but in a different way on a different level.
And are sleep paralysis, non-human interactions a form of pre-contact or training?
It can be, but more often than not, it is simply the idea that whether it is from contact with other beings or whether you are shifting from one level to another, it is something that can help, in a sense, freeze you so that you don't go wandering off, that you make the transition specifically that needs to be made. It can be the result of not knowing how to move in one reality or another because you're not in one reality or another. It can be a transitional state until such time as you fully merge into a different reality spectrum that then allows you to move freely. So it can be a transitional state, whether induced by other beings or whether it's simply a matter of astral projection.
And this person had a dream where their fingers were beautiful shades of blue, purple, and magenta. On each fingertip, there was a geometric shape like a triangle, square, diamond, and a couple of others they couldn't make out. Can you help them understand what this might mean?
It's very simple. They're exploring the idea of the spirit realm, where you might call it the underlying template of physical reality that is called the causal plane, where different geometric forms are representative of different manifestations in physical reality in a simplified way, different colors, different shapes. So they're exploring a certain low level of the astral realm that you would refer to as the causal plane. They're entering the spirit realm, but just at the beginning where they're starting to recognize the underlying shapes that give rise to the template of physical reality.
And this person had a dream vision where they were told they belonged to the Council of Elders and take people to God. Can you explain how we take people to God and what is the Council of Elders?
Everyone has a spirit team, and on that spirit team, there are certain beings that function as a council. This person is simply being told that they have the opportunity to function as one of those council members. And in acting as a council member guide for people who choose to have physical incarnations and sharing information with them that allows them to align with source, that euphemistically in your language is being taken to God. So it's about the idea that they have the potential to function as a council member that gives energy and information and guides the living in a way that allows them to find their connection to source.
And this person had a dream of an alien who popped up showing only their face. And then in that brief encounter, they were given the feeling or understanding that they were part of the hybridization project. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, that's very typical. A lot of times they will get you to just focus on their face. It's a way of transmitting information to you, downloading information into you more directly so you're not distracted by anything other than that communication. So, yes,
And
they're part of the hybridization program.
and this person had a dream in which the name Outlook Mountain was revealed to them, which is located in New York State. Can you share anything about that?
Oh, that is an error. It is Overlook Mountain, not Outlook Mountain. That was simply their translation in the dream. Overlook Mountain is at the southern part of what you call the Catskills, that is on the border of the Hudson Valley. The Hudson Valley in the New York area is infamous, shall we say, or famous for the idea of very important and powerful UFO sightings in the past, and can be a place that this person is being instructed to go to if they wish to experience more UFO sightings. So, Overlook Mountain near the Hudson Valley in New York is a place where there can be a lot of UFO activity if this person wishes to have different sightings. They're being
So it
directed to
sounds like
go there.
it sounds like a great place to do a CE5
Yes,
meditation.
it would be. The Hudson Valley is very active. There's a very powerful portal there.
Nice. Um, if everything is simultaneously going on from the perspective of all that is, and nothing is actually happening, then is that true? And how does all that is evolve or discover more of itself?
Well, again, this question sort of has mixed metaphors in it, and therefore is a little bit mixed up in that way. Everything exists all at once, yes, but let's separate out the idea of the term happening because that implies the experience of space and time. So you're mixing the idea of simultaneity in existence and everything existing at once in a timeless state with the idea of what you experience in a time relevant reality. And therefore, the question is kind of nonsensical.
Because it's all about experience being new, even though the structure never changes.
Exactly. So the structure is timeless. The experience is what's happening. So it's not that the happening is always happening. That takes place within a space-time frame of reference. The structure that everything exists in the sense that you have the structure you can play with and experience happenings in, that always exists, but the happenings happen within a space-time referential reality.
Okay, and this question is about the idea of reaching the 200,000 cycles per second by following the formula.
Yes.
And the idea was that you were saying at one point that the idea is to raise your frequency and follow your passion, which will take you over 100,000 cycles per second and even close to 200,000. So they were asking if there's a limit to how far the formula can take you, in a sense.
Well, it will take you into the higher reaches of physical reality and fourth density reality. You won't need it when you go into spirit. So it's only relevant for the idea of raising your vibration in physical reality, because when you return to your soul self, you're already much higher. You have crossed the threshold into non-physical reality. You have crossed the 333,000 cycle per second borderline. So the formula is for raising your vibration as high as potentially possible while you still have a physical experience. That's why in our civilization, we routinely are operating above 250,000 cycles per second, and generally between 250,000 and 300,000 cycles per second, because it's not necessary to go farther until you actually return to your soul self beyond the 333,000 cycle per second barrier.
And what is a good way to stay present in the moment?
Why wouldn't you? If you believe that nothing is more important than what's happening in the moment, you will stay there with it. The only reason that someone might have a challenge staying in the present is because they believe that something else yet to happen has more importance to it than what's going on right now, which it doesn't. Anything that's happening right now is the most important thing that can possibly be happening, and is going to give you everything you need at this moment to grow, to learn, to be more of who you are. Using it up fully is what will allow you to move to the next moment, but the next moment will also be in the now. So it's not about focusing on what can be, it's about focusing on what is and knowing that there's nothing more important, and getting excited about the fact that you have everything you need right here and right now. You just have to pay attention to it. And then it will be easy to understand how to stay present.
And that theme comes through a lot with meditation and things like that, with the idea of letting go of thoughts that are distracting you from staying present in the moment.
Yes, you can approach it that way, but again, all it takes is a simple understanding that nothing could possibly be more important than what's happening right now. It doesn't
Well,
require meditation. You can use meditation to get to that understanding, but the understanding is simply that. There is nothing more important than what's going on right now. Nothing.
yeah, that's really helpful because that is the key thing, right? You have to
Yes,
recognize that what is happening in the moment
yes,
is the most important thing. And then automatically you will focus on what has happened.
yes.
This question is about animal grief. And the idea is, how do animals experience and process grief? And they can stay with us, as or with our loved ones, remain with us for in a different form. Wait, let me see if I got this right. Can animals also understand or feel the kind of connection similar to how humans do?
Well, animals feel the connection all the time. Remember that they can see spirits and they know your spirit. And they're connected all the time. And they come from the angelic realm. They're not angels, but they come from that level with unconditional love. So they're always connected and always capable of perceiving spirit. Animals, when they demonstrate the idea of grief, are usually just reflecting the idea of the way humanity processes the idea of somebody missing from their lives. The animals can reflect that. They don't experience it quite the same way because they know they're connected, but they can honor the idea that something that has left physical reality to many people will be experienced as grief, and they may reflect that collective experience by looking like they're grieving or being sad themselves. But
Hmm.
it's mostly just a reflection of what's going on in humanity as a way of being a part of the process that humans go through when they believe that someone has left their lives and don't understand, like the animal does, that they're still very much present, just in a different form. But the animals may take on that look in order to help humanity go through its grieving process by having an animal that is seemingly going through the same process and therefore taking consolation by taking care of the animal, which then removes them from focusing on their own grief.
And lastly here, if telepathy is empathy, could it be that by incarnating on Earth, the soul chooses to embody a specific perspective in order to truly understand it, to experience unconditional love through that viewpoint?
Yes, it's possible, of course.
Okay, but that's not overall accurate. I mean, it's not true for everything, right?
It just depends on what the soul has laid out for the way it wishes to learn something and face a challenge. A lot of it has to do with learning empathy, but there can be differences, there can be exceptions.
So I know that's all we have time for today.